Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the question, Councillor Formosa. We often undertake audits of bins to establish whether they're overfull and obviously the contents of the bin to make sure that the appropriate materials are going in those bins. However, if there's particular sites that are of concern, if you could pass through the street details, that would be great, and we can certainly have a look into those particular sites of concern.
Great, thanks, Mr. Jackson. I'll send you those details of the particular street in question. I've also had a resident that was noticing some of the safety issues that are happening along Browns Road with safety bollards, which I raised last council meeting, and thank you to the team for their response in relation to that. Probably need that to happen sooner rather than later, just because of the severity of the amount of trucks and cars that are constantly mounting that roundabout and potentially putting the corner house at risk. But I've had a resident contact me in relation to same sort of issues against Police Road. So if we could perhaps get our team to do a bit of an audit along Police Road to see how many locations there are at risk of heavy vehicles that potentially could hit, you know, the school, the club. We've got a stretch of shops there, because I know that we have a high amount of heavy vehicles that are using that space as well as a detour. And if we could do a bit of an audit along that road, please, Mayor, if the relevant officer could respond.
Mr. Jackson.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we'll definitely get the team to go and have a look along Police Road and identify any areas of concern.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Councillor Formosa.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Jackson. I know we're constantly writing letters to the ministers and so forth about Jackson's Road, but it is a huge issue. I remember last year noticing a car had taken out the signalised crossing there on the corner of Justin and Browns Road during school pickup time. So it is definitely a road of concern. It's of heavy use, and we certainly don't have the right mechanisms in place for the amount of vehicles that are using that arterial road. So thank you for that. The next question I have is that a resident wanted to ask a question for public question time during council meeting, but was not computer savvy, as we can imagine a lot of our residents here in the city of Greater Dandenong who'd have great difficulty trying to ask a question through the online system. And so I said, no worries, I will print you off a version of that so that you can fill it out manually. However, I was not able to do that because no such tab or opportunity for me to do that exists. So if I could ask the relevant officer if we could please have an opportunity for residents to be able to print versions of public question time so that they can put their questions in through that mechanism, please.
Ms. Wetherill.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa, and thank you for the feedback. We'll take that on board and we'll ensure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetherill. Councillor Formosa.
Too easy. Thank you very much. Another question I have is in regards to Hayington Crescent property that we purchased to become an open space. We are still, we've still got the existing building there, and I understand the Bakdar community still has their goods in there, and as usual, people are raiding the facilities, and just the rubbish is absolutely all over the property and spilling onto the street. So if I could just have an update as to where we're at with giving Bakdar community the opportunity to come and collect the belongings that are there, and where we're at with demolition, please.
Ms. Sajari.
To you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Formosa, for your question. You are right, and we are well aware about that. Recently, I think it was more than a month ago that we had myself and the other officers had meetings with the executive people of the Bakdar community and raised the concern. And also, most importantly, because we flagged with them that for this budget, we have the money for demolition. And as you know, this land was purchased for the public open space, and it's our obligation. Really, now we have the money to start the work. So the work has been scheduled for another couple of months. So we are in conversation with them very closely. We understand that they are looking at the different options for relocating. We are also looking at how we can support them, but the reality is that this is immediate and we have to have that land back, which was initially for just very temporary from 2022, I believe. So we are working very closely with them and we definitely will update you on that. But we are very well aware of the issue and also our obligations to return that to the open space.
Thank you, Mr. Hajari. Councillor Formosa.
Thanks, Ms. Hajari. Yeah, this is of huge concern. Look, I'm, really in support of what the Bakdar community has done for our residents, no doubt about that. But they do have a second residence now, a location in Hallam. And in actual fact, I did call them, not letting them know that I was a councillor, just that I had some goods that I wanted to donate myself personally. And they had responded and said that, well, they have no capacity to keep any goods on hand any longer anyway. So that also raised a few concerns for me in the fact that we are constantly cleaning up this space, which is at the cost of residents and ratepayers. So I would really urge for us to let them know that it's really, it was good while they were there, and thank you for their service, but it's definitely time to move on, and we do acquire that land as soon as possible. So thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight, Mayor, is that I would also like to commend our team for the school holiday programs that we're running these school holidays. I've noticed that we have had a huge increase in the amount of opportunities available to families. It's the first time that I've never received a phone call from a family saying, hey, we've tried to book in particular activities for our children and we've not been able to because we feel at capacity so quickly. And I just had a quick look this evening to see that there's still some space available for some activities during the week. So a huge thank you to the team. They've clearly listened to the concerns of the community. It's really hard as a mum myself to try and keep your kids entertained over the school holidays, and the fact that we are doing it and doing it so well. A huge thank you to the team for that incredible work, and for families out there that are interested in sending their kids somewhere this week. There's a lot of opportunities to attend some of our activities. I attended a few events over the last couple of weeks, but the really, really important one, Mayor, is the consecration of the new Syro Malabar St Thomas Church that just opened up in Dandenong South on the weekend. There was about 3,000 people at this event. We had all levels of government in attendance. It is a long-awaited day that was just full of celebration, full of hope, full of love, and in a time where we probably need that most right now, it was just a beautiful experience. I know that they've done incredible work in our community and have been homed at St John's High School for the last 10 years. They finally have their own space, their own home, which was just really, really special to be a part of. They do incredible work in our community. So a huge congratulations to the Syro Malabar St Thomas Church, which has now got its own home, and wish them all the very best in the years to come in that beautiful place of worship. So that's all from me. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Formosa. Councillor Yim.
Thank you, Mayor. On Thursday, the 26th of June, I attended the Greater Dandenong Business Awards 2025 Gala Dinner, hosted by the Greater Dandenong Chamber of Commerce with Councillor Rhonda Garrard. It was great to see so many wonderful businesses and entrepreneurs within the city of Greater Dandenong. Councillor Garrard and I were lucky enough to have sat with the winners of the night, Ugly Vodka, who make vodka from apples that are deemed imperfect or ugly, not pretty enough to be sold on the supermarkets that would otherwise have been discarded. Their work reduces and supports local farmers. On Saturday the 5th, I attended the 40th anniversary celebration for the Cambodian Association of Victoria with yourself, Mayor, and Deputy Mayor Sophie Tan, and Councillor Alice Fung Lei. It was a brilliantly fun night celebrating all the achievements of the MAV throughout these 40 years. I was also able to meet and dance with many local residents, some of which were slightly concerned with my lack of dancing skills. Deputy Mayor Sophie Tan, however, danced perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Yim. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I was proud to attend the launch of the Dandenong Wellbeing Centre a couple of weekends ago to see it commenced construction. That's a project that I had the privilege of voting for to ensure that construction had commenced. And I think that event really highlighted the importance of access to world-class facilities, regardless of one's postcode and background. I was also quite moved by some of the stories and memories associated with Dandenong Oasis as well, and see what the real-life impacts of community infrastructure like this has on local wellbeing and the local community. I just wanted to extend my sincere thanks to all the engineers, all the planners that were involved, or the residents that pushed and advocated for a new facility like this one, and also all the swim instructors and all the dedicated staff at South East Leisure. And I look forward to seeing the projects continue and complete in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dann. I too, with many of my councillor colleagues, attended the ALGA, Australian Council of Local Government, National General Assembly in Canberra. The theme was National Priorities Need Local Solutions. It was a great few days there, but I really paid a lot of attention to the Back Your Neighbour campaign, which I hosted a morning tea and also emceed the event as well, where over 70 participants came to the morning tea. And the team also met with many politicians while we were in Canberra, and it was a great result for Back Your Neighbour campaign. And we also had a stall there as well, which was easily this year the most popular stall in the whole of the Canberra conference. So it was really good to be there, and my report is tabled along with other councillors tonight. I also attended the official opening of the Springvale Reserve upgrades, as Councillor Deputy Mayor Tan said, a $2.3 million upgrade to the Newcomen Road facilities there. Fantastic. Great to see that brand new netball courts, new lighting, new toilets, etc. So plenty of things happening there, and I think they've got something again in this year's budget as well. So a lot of things are happening in that facility. I also attended the Dandenong West Football and Netball Club home game versus Narre Saints. Also attended the multicultural celebration hosted by the Afghan League community. Miss Wetherill and I met with the Honourable Claire O'Neill, the federal member for Hotham. The minister was wanting to talk more about housing and the housing pressures that we face, not only in our city but around the country, and how we can help with that. I also attended a meeting with Australia Post to discuss the proposed closure of the Springvale Post Office with a number of the councillors. Unfortunately, we didn't want to hear what news they were giving us. My understanding is still that the closure will happen this month. The federal member sent them a letter, the state member sent them a letter, the council sent them a letter to plea to retain the post office and to keep it open, but unfortunately it doesn't look good at this point of time. There was a lot of Muharram events. Muharram is the first month of the Islamic calendar and one of the 4 holy months in Islam. It's a time for prayer and reflection. It was the Shia community. I attended the Muharram at the Taha Association. I also attended the Sedat-e-Madomi organisation. I attended the Kaltha Association of Victoria. I also attended the Resul Akram Association. I also attended the Ulama Society of Victoria, the Husseini Society, and also the Etrak Cultural Association of Victoria. So I attended 7 different functions over that week. And on the 10th day, it's called Ashura. And in participation in the 7 events that I went, there was tens of thousands of people. So we have a very large Shia community in Greater Dandenong. I also attended the Dandenong Wellbeing Centre project launch with the Honourable Julian Hill, where we were very fortunate to get a $20 million grant from the federal government. And there was people in attendance, and there was a wall at the Oasis for people to write down and share their fond memories they've had in that pool over the last 50 years. I had one of my own, actually, back in 1985, which was about 40 years ago. I was in year 7 and brand new into high school, and thought that I was a pretty good swimmer, but the only swimming I ever done was go to the pools and do bombs and not really swim laps. But anyway, I was sucked into getting in the 50-metre freestyle, and my memory was I jumped in the pool and started swimming freestyle. I got tired. I sort of looked up and everybody else was finishing, and I was not even halfway down the pool. So that was my memory going back about 40 years, and then I never entered the swimming competitions ever again since then. So, and I was talking to Councillor Milkovich, and he says his kids do lessons and they're pretty good and they always win. And I said, that's what happened to me. The kids that were doing the lessons swam down the pool pretty quickly. But I'm sure everybody in our community's got their own stories that they can share. It's been a beautiful 50 years at the Dandenong Oasis, and we're looking forward to constructing the new $122 million. It's more than a pool. It's got a hockey pavilion and hockey facilities, warm water pools, spas, and all the gyms and etc. that would go to these modern facilities. I can't wait, but also our community is telling me they can't wait for those facilities to be opened as well. I also attended the Cambodian Association of Victoria 40th anniversary. My very good friend, former Mayor Councillor Yu Horn Chi, the president. I presented the Cambodian Association of Victoria with a certificate acknowledging their 40 years service to the community, and it was a great evening held by all. NAIDOC Week celebration at Dandenong Market. Our Bunurong community had a fantastic event, all-day event at the Dandenong Market. Many people at the market didn't know what was happening, but they all came in and learned a bit more and joined in, and there was heaps of entertainment by our community held at the Dandenong Market. I also had a meeting with the Casey Mayor, Stefan Kuman, regarding the Ramadan night market. He wanted to learn more about our Ramadan night market. A lot of the people that came to our Ramadan night market were residents of Casey, so the Mayor wanted to know how he could help with the 2026 Ramadan market. So it was great to see their interest in our Ramadan night market. I also, with Miss Weatherall, had a meeting with Capital Alliance. Capital Alliance are the developers that are part of the revitalisation of Central Dandenong. Showed us some plans which were ready to be put in as an application to the state government, and hopefully that those plans will be approved early in the next year or late this year. And they told me that they will then come and present to the council. They look pretty good. All I said to them that we can't wait. We've been talking about it for the last 5 years, and I think the time for waiting is finished and it needs a time for action. And they were happy that they're going to fill it up and get that project underway. I also chaired another meeting of the Mayoral and Council Task Force supporting people seeking asylum. I also attended Mount Hira. They were preparing to hold a festival in December. They're going to have their 25th anniversary at Mount Hira College, and I was asked to do a video clip to celebrate that event that's happening in December. I also attended the 30th commemoration of the Srebrenica genocide. Deputy Mayor Tan just presented the council with the flower. The flower of Srebrenica is presented to the City of Greater Dandenong by genocide survivors from Podrinja on the 11th of July, Srebrenica Inc., South East Melbourne, in recognition of the International Day of Reflection and Commemoration of the 1995 Srebrenica genocide. The Srebrenica flower is a symbol of remembrance and truth. Its 11 petals represent the date of the genocide, 11th July, and the innocence of the victims. The green centre symbolises hope, justice, and ongoing pursuit of recognition. Never forget. And just to remind everybody, 11 years ago, Council reaffirmed the resolution of the Commonwealth Parliament to recognise today as the 11th of July as a Srebrenica Remembrance Day. Also, councillors, I attended the Quan Than's birthday celebration held by the Teochew Chinese Association of Victoria, and today Miss Weatherall and I met with people who are from Diabetes Prevention Program, and it was an initial collaboration meeting which this council will work with diabetes prevention in the next few months. And that's all I have to report. And Ms. Weatherall, you've got some questions that were taken at the last council meeting.
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. And table them. Councillors, we'll move on to the next item. Item 7, urgent business. If there is no urgent business, item 8, close of business. I declare the meeting closed at 8:04 p.m. Thank you for your attendance and have a great evening.